and welcome to the latest instalment of the Rangers Women's Sports Group podcast. Tonight it's just Kat and myself. How are you doing, Kat?
Yeah, a bit better. Not so much midweek, but yesterday cheered me up a bit.
How are you, Betty? It's just the end of the season. Things are like a roller coaster, lots of ups and downs. So we'll just head straight into it because we need to get this over and done with.
Yeah.
We face Glasgow City midweek at Ibrox. That was all ever probably going to go one way, and it did. So we started with Fife and goals, Docherty, Eddie, Hill, Hay, Hardy, Cornet, Lafay, McLean, McCleary, and Wilkinson. What did you think of the team when you seen it?
I was confused, to be honest. I don't really understand why Jodie started. No harm to her, but I'd much preferred Mia or Lizzie to be starting in the wing. Should have really been Kirsty Howitt in behind, as we talked about in the podcast last week. Bizarre choice when it's a must-win game at Ibrox, but that's Joe Potter for you, I suppose.
Yeah, it was a weird kind of team, but she goes between having a set team and making no changes and running players into the ground, and then she goes, actually, I'll just fiddle with the team a bit, and then that tends to be when it doesn't work. So yeah, not ideal. Another kind of Hibs Celtic couple of losses, which has been twice that's happened this season, so we really need to figure out why that keeps happening and sort it. But anyway, the game started. We had a chance with Camille hit the bar. More like, oh, this could be all right, but that was probably the only clear chance we had in that first half.
Yeah, I mean, it comes from real pressure in the keeper, which we did for the first 20 minutes, and then we gave up because it wasn't working, which I don't understand because it kind of was working, because Camille gets the shot off, rattles the woodwork, nearly 1-up at that point, but instead we just kind of sat back. But it's Rangers. She probably got a bollocking for, she probably got in trouble for, sorry about that, for taking that shot on from distance.
No, definitely. So as you say, we kind of sat back after that initially working, which I think we need to do more as press teams. We didn't take advantage of. And then City, just before half time, go up. Jenna makes.
I'm afraid I couldn't find anything about that.
City's just check. Jenna Fife makes an absolute. I was going to swear as well, but
your own word here.
Trying to find the right word, but that of it goes down, takes their player out. Absolutely no need for it when the player was going away through the box. Brings it down, penalty, and of course, Brenna Oliveira's never going to miss for the spot.
I mean, the only argument you can make is maybe Ennie's fouled a little bit in the lead up to it, but she needs to be a bit stronger there. But they just run up. There's no reason for Jenna to come and do that. I get that she's trying to get the ball, but she doesn't, and she's nowhere close to it, and just absolutely wipes the last year. I think she kind of goes down a little bit easily, but you would do that. You're in the box, you're getting fouled. It's going to be a penalty all day, so like no harm to her for doing that. But I don't understand why Jenna's done that. The lassie's basically the other edge of the box. She's not going to get close back to goal. Just stay on your line or stay close to the line and let the defenders try and deal with it. But Jenna Fife, isn't it?
Yeah. So 1-0 at half time for them. We come out and think, right, surely Joe even. Let's give it. I wish Jay was still there. Joe's probably gonna go to them a bit and there'll be changes and whatnot, but nope. Same things happen. We're just cutting in so much. We're using the wings, which is, as we've said multiple times this season, is one of our strong points. Not getting crosses into the box. We change up front, bring Laura Berry on far too late as always. But it was like for like substitutes when they came on, but we were doing the exact same thing, so it wasn't going to change anything because we still wanted to get the service into the strikers.
No, and it looks like the wingers have either been told to or scared to take players on. I mean, look at seasons gone by and the amount of wingers that we had. Brogan, even Rachel McLaughlin at points was making runs down the wings, and now we're not doing that. We're always turning back, or there's no out ball, so because no one's making runs, everyone's too static, so it just wasn't working. You bring Laura Berry on and they don't provide her with any service. It's not going to work. We're playing at Ibrox. It's a big pitch. it's meant to be our home ground. We're not using it to our advantage, and then they're all raging after the game because they get left out. You need to change things during the game for things to actually change. You can't just keep doing the same thing and hope that that will happen. I mean, the only good player is probably Leah Eddy, who made a couple of good challenges. But as Alan constantly goes on about, the defenders are making challenges that they can't win constantly in areas of the park that's then putting us under pressure that we don't need to do.
Yeah, there seems to be a lot of shouting at each other in the back line at Jenna, and that there just does seem to be the cohesion that was there probably earlier in the season when we were having clean sheets. But again, it seems to be the pressure's on. We move it to Ibrox, which adds more pressure, and it's just something again against the teams that were challenging for the title, where we just kind of handle that pressure and we just crumble.
No, and then we're playing it into congested areas, and City were just shutting us down at the first man, so to speak. They came out to play, they knew what they were doing, they shut us down really effectively, but we didn't then try and play around that. We just kept doing the same thing and getting cut out. Stupid.
Yeah, so we'll leave it there for that game. I think the only players that got past marks are probably Camille Lafay and Leah Eddy, so we'll leave that there. So the next game was Motherwell, which we thought, well, this should be the game that we do really well in because this seems to be the teams we like to play against. We started again, bizarrely, with Jenna and goals, which was a surprise to us, but we'll come to that. Docherty, Hill, Rafferty, Howitt, Macaulay, Arnott, Berry, Cornett, McLean, and Wilkinson. Thoughts on that team?
Other than the fact that Jenna Fife started, which is the most bizarre thing to me. I mean, she's given away a ridiculous penalty in the game midweek. We've got another keeper on the bench that's not really played that much, probably fit and fresh and ready to fight for a chance, and yet she persists with Jenna, which makes no sense to me. The rest of it's all right. It's nice to see Raf starting and nice to see Laura Berry starting. I was buzzing about that, but yeah, I don't understand Jenna keeping her place at all.
No, just on the keeper subject, we did send Gilma back home for 6 weeks because why wouldn't you? You've got two keepers that are not a straw to draw between them. Bring in a keeper, new shiny keeper, and then go, actually, we're not going to play her, and she can actually just go back home till we'll play her next season, depending on manager and if she wants to come back and whatnot.
Well, I know she's got to, fight for a place in the Euro team or whatever, that makes sense, but then why don't we just play her? Because she's going to be our keeper next season, we assume, or do we bring her in to play one game and then she'll just go back to Iceland? That would just be like us, wouldn't it, to do that kind of thing? But it's bizarre, it makes no sense, but that's our club for you.
Yeah, definitely. All the other team news told that Leah Eddy's got a bit of a tight calf, so that's why she was out, but she should be back for Sunday. But considering she was running the length of the pitch at Ibrox, it's probably not a surprise she's got a tight calf. But she should be back for Sunday, which is probably just as well because we're going to need her, I think.
Yeah.
We'll come to that. We'll come to that. So the first half, we had a few chances. Like for the kind of first 20 minutes, that's always quite important. More like we should come out, score quite early, but it's us, so of course not. Kirsty Howitt come quite close. I think she hit the woodwork, or it was just over the top. But we're creating chances, but we usually do against the likes of Motherwell.
Yeah, we do, and we were creating a lot of chances. Maybe not as nice football as you'd like. Performance wasn't great, but we were creating chances, a few over the bar, and I think Wilko put one wide just before, and we were doing a lot of good stuff-ish. I'm being very lenient there with that.
Yeah, then 25 minutes we did finally get off the score sheet. You were thinking it was going to be Laura Berry doing what Laura Berry does, but Wilko taps it in and it takes the goal off her, I suppose. But 1-0 up, 25 minutes in, we were off.
Yeah, I mean, watching the highlights back, which I have done, I think Wilko did need to touch the ball for it to go in the back of the net from Laura Berry. At the time, I did think she'd stolen a goal from her, and I think Laura thought that too. But watching it back, I think she did need to touch it for it to go in the back of the net. But it's an assist from Laura Berry, so we'll take that.
We'll take it, yeah. What was it? Just before half time, Kathy went down with an injury. I don't know if it was her hamstring or her calf or whatever. Test came on. So we'll see. I don't think Joe said anything after the game or that. I've actually never watched the.
No, neither did I. Not very
I
good
don't
at
actually know if she's going to be all right, but I'll assume she probably will be because
hopefully.
Old Firm game on the horizon. Kathy will be taking anything she can to be ready for that. So we're going 1-0 at half time. Probably should have been more, but considering the performance recently, it probably wasn't that much of a surprise.
No, it should have been. We should have had a few more goals, but we were at least creating stuff, and Motherwell weren't really troubling us other than pulling at shirts and kicking us all over the place. And from a football point of view, they weren't really doing much to threaten us.
Yeah, young Mason had quite a good game though, as she always does. I think we should still be kicking ourselves that we let her go when she's such a talented player. But anyway, she's going now. But we come back out after half time and we get a nice goal. We actually had a player running down the wing. We didn't expect it to be Tess, but she crosses in, lovely cross, exactly what we're wanting, and Mia McCauley sticks it away to make it 2-0.
Yeah, I mean, Tess was getting hounded on that side and she managed to come away with the ball, fire it into the box, and Mia's running in to put it into the back of it. Exactly the way that we want to play football, exactly what we want to see. So more of that, please, because it works. So just keep doing that. And no, I didn't expect it to be Tess that would do that, but always nice when Tess gets a wee assist.
I don't think Tess expected that it was going to be her either, but here we are, running back, Tess. 62 minutes, Rio and Brogan went off. No, Rio and Brogan came on, sorry. And Laura and Lizzie went off. A reasonable enough game for Laura and Lizzie. Obviously, Laura getting the assist, and then Rio and Brogan comes on, get some minutes in their legs for the weekend.
Yeah, I think, again, it's 63 minutes because that's the time that we make pre-planned subs and we can't deviate from that, seemingly, but I digress. I think it makes sense, give minutes across the board. We've got big games coming up, so makes sense.
Yeah. A few minutes after that, those three magic words, penalty to Rangers, and up sticks Wilko, and of course she's never going to miss for the spot.
No, I think we thought Rio might take it because she was just on the park, but it's basically a carbon copy of the City penalty. So, I mean, it's Wilko. She puts it in the bottom corner. It's exactly what you want her to do. We weren't really doing that much at that point. I think we had a couple of chances and then we made some subs. So it's always nice to get a wee penalty. I don't know who it was at the game that said prior to it we would get a penalty today. I don't know if it was Tracy, but we got one. So.
Eva predicted that, so
Use it.
she was quite happy. She also predicted 3-0, but kind of get it all right. Yeah.
Can't have it all.
75 minutes, Kirsty Howard and Chelsea went off, and Jane and Jodie come on. I think Chelsea actually kind of stepped up a bit yesterday. She was all over the place in a good way. So she had quite a good performance. Kirsty Howard was very vocal. I think you picked up on that she was quite kind of commanding where people were and whatnot. So good. I think we need more of that. I think we need more voices and leaders to kind of haul us over the line sometimes.
Yeah, I mean, I think they're all just a bit raging, especially Kirsty Howard. I think she was just absolutely livid about what had gone wrong the last few weeks. So she was a lot more vocal and giving commands rather than just aimlessly shouting, which is quite good. But sometimes if there's too many, it gets a bit lost. But I think it was the perfect balance yesterday. And it seemed to work. So maybe we just need to do that. We just Kirsty Howard on the pitch shouting at everyone and nobody will put a foot wrong.
Hopefully.
We're trying everything at this point.
At this point, you could see Motherwell were tired and their manager was kind of shouting, keep the energy high. And I think they were all looking at him like, we have no energy left. So I don't know how you're expecting that. And then Wilko got basically a hat trick for then on. 79 minutes, 88 minutes, and 92 minutes to give her 5 goals for the day. Quite a successful day for her.
Yeah, and I think you can see how buzzing she was because obviously she's not scored a lot recently. So I think to finally get another hat trick and then a couple more after that's probably quite huge for her confidence, which is great. That puts her on 44 goals across all competitions, which is mental. Like it's actually crazy that she's hit that. But when you look at the start of the season, she could probably have about 60 at this point, and she continued the form from the start of this season. But she's done it against Motherwell, which is great. But if she could step up and do that against other teams, that would be fantastic elsewhere. But she's done it. And a couple of them were actually quite nice goals. The one, Mia got a hat-trick of assists, I think, at that point.
Yep.
The one where she plays the ball through it and Wilko just has to kind of, almost Jermaine Defoe-esque, just kind of toe poke it into the net was quite nice.
Yeah, it's the games that she kind of performs in. We need her to kind of step up in this last run in and get the goals, which she is capable of doing. She scored against Celtic previously, but if she could do that again, that would do us a massive favour. So we finished the game 6-0. As you'd expect, we were kind of wanting teeny tiny numbers, but wasn't meant to be. If we'd played better in that first half, we probably would have. But as we said, we can't have it all, clearly. Player of the match for yesterday?
It's between Wilko and Mia for me. I mean, Wilko scored that many goals, you can't really discount her, but I think Mia was excellent. I think she was a little bit annoyed as well, so she really showed up. Probably could have scored her set. Well, she did, but she could have had another goal as well. She was absolutely everywhere, so it's between those two for me, and I'm not picking one, so
Fair enough. Yeah, I think Wilko has to get it. 5 goals. Can't really complain about that. So yep, we're as we were in the table going into the weekend. City won their game, Hibs won their game, so there's not much more you can say about it. We're as we were. We're still back, what, we 5 points behind Hibs? And
yes.
3 points behind Glasgow City, or 2 points behind? No, we're behind anyway. So we have got Celtic up next, just to give us even more stress, at New Douglas Park, so BBC Alba, so it's a 4:10 kickoff. They're probably having a worse season than us. So what's going to happen this weekend, Car?
It's probably going to be a draw, or I'm there, so probably we'll lose, because you're desperate for me to not go, because I've seen us win once against them, so...
You keep saying that once in about
4 or 5
games or something.
away games. I've seen it. No, I don't think I've ever seen us beat them at home. Anyway, that's not really my fault. I don't think the players don't show up because I'm there. Do you want me to wear a mask and then they won't know it's me, so they'll win? But they are having a horrendous season, so in theory we should go out and beat them quite comfortably. But to us, it's going to be scrappy. It's probably going to be 1 goal in it either way, right till the end. But let's hope that it's us that come out on top.
Yeah, it's a game that they're going to step up in because it's us. And obviously it's a game we need to step up in because, as we're going to come to, it's win or bust for us. I think we really need to just press their back line because, as we said yesterday, if you've seen the game or the highlights against Glasgow City, as soon as you press their back line, they absolutely crumble, and it's probably something we've said. We actually know
since 2020.
Yeah, their back line's terrible, but and it's even weaker now that obviously Caitlin Hayes is away. So just press them, and we should have a few goals and march on to the next game. But we'll see. Trust the process and all that. See how we go. As I say, win or bust, and you've got the permutations or whatever that big fancy word is for what we need to win the league.
Kind of. It's frying my brain, and we're at that point of the season again where I'm having to do maths and ifs and buts to try and figure out if we can go and win this, which it's never a nice place to be. If we can just run away with it again, that'd be really nice, but that's not going to happen now. So obviously Hibs and City play each other on Sunday. So ideally for us, we want a draw, and then we have to win our remaining games and we can win the title. If it's anything other than a draw, I'm fairly certain we can't win the title. There is other caveats in that. If City and Hibs both lose the remaining 2 games after that, then obviously we win the title, but that's not going to happen. So, but if Hibs win, then they only need 1 point to secure the title, which would mean they could win it the next midweek. I don't know who they're playing. If they get a point in that game, they could get the title that day. If City win that game, they're then level on points with Hibs and are more than likely going to go and then win the remaining 2 games. So we basically could help where the title goes, not for us, unfortunately. If we beat Hibs last day of the season and City have won that game and we beat Hibs, then obviously we could hand the title to City. But there's lots of ifs and buts in there, and it all comes down to it. As long as we win our remaining 3 games and there's a draw on Sunday between them, then we can win the title. But that's basically our only shot. It's not a fun place to be when you're hoping other teams can do us a favour, because that never works out. Look
No.
at last season, look at the season before. So
Not for us anyway. I'm just hoping Jay's Ted Lasso the Believe, like, put it up and come, we can do this. I really hope we can, but as Debbie keeps saying, they'll keep believing, it'll be fine, but we're a bit long in the tooth for all that. All that news. So yeah, well, Celtic on Sunday, win or bust. What could possibly go wrong?
Yeah, let's talk about some young upcoming talent, shall we? That'll make us all feel better. So obviously, Hamilton and Kelly were basically neck and neck going into this week. We thought there was only one game left next week, but there's not. There's 2 remaining games. Hamilton won 6-0 quite convincingly against St Johnstone, which is good to see. Sophie Townsley and Abby Tobin, I believe, played 90 minutes, and Sophie Townsley scored because water is wet, and that's just what she does. I don't know. Kirsten Love was on the bench, but I don't know if she came on because the SWPL website hasn't been updated for their game for some reason, and it's not on their Twitter. But
how rude.
I don't know that way, but obviously that's good that Sophie scored. So they're now on 59 points. Kilmarnock played Boroughmuir Thistle, but that ended in a 2-2 draw, which had they won that, they then would have been, I think, 1 point behind. But Jess Linden played 90 minutes and Abby McMillan didn't get off the bench. Obviously being a draw, they're now on 55 points. So it's still tight, but I'm fairly sure that Hamilton are going to then win the next 2 games and probably then get promoted back up. But Queen's Park played Dundee United and lost 2-1. Millie Payton, if I could talk, was started and was subbed in the 78th minute, and Sophie Rutherford played the full game, which is good. Summer Laird still injured, but Livingston drew 2-2 with Rossvale, which I believe at Wilf and Demi were at that game and said it was quite a good game. So Gart Cairn, another crazy game. They ended up losing 3-4 to Ayr, which was crazy because at one point they were away with it. But Mia MacArthur played 90 minutes and Maddie Maxwell was subbed on the 82nd minute. Spartans, they also lost, so not great, all things considered this week, but they lost to Montrose, but Casey McKenna played 73 minutes and scored her first ever SWPL goal, which is nice to see that she's finally got a goal. Shame it's not for us, but it's nice that she's still playing games and scoring, which is nice to see. Obviously, Motherwell, Sophie and Ailey couldn't play because they're playing us. So, is that everyone? That's everyone.
That's everyone. Well done to Casey getting her first goal. I did see that and was like, proud.
Yeah.
Sophie Townsley just setting the league alight as well. It's just fantastic to see, and plenty of minutes shared around everybody else. So that's exactly what we want to see, and we'll see who comes back and can push in the team next season, hopefully, or some of them might be go on loan again. But definitely good to see them getting minutes and goals and assists and whatnot. And the SWPL's as well.
Yeah.
Sorry, trying to get involved again. So we'll leave it there. Hopefully, we have a positive podcast on.
I don't see a repairs in your contacts.
I don't know why Sarah keeps.
Who do you want to face with?
We'll leave it there. We'll speak to you. For joining me, Kat.
No bother, thanks. Hopefully next week's a much happier affair.
Yes, definitely.